on, some extra weight. There'll be some big lumps in that sort of maul. They'll be looking to get over the line, get themselves sort of back to sort of 11 points and 19, 21, 10, and just ease the tension a bit.
There's that 50-point mark, which they rather enjoyed and eyed up as games have been going on. There's the force of the Reds. Seems a long way off at the moment, but it might be about to get a bit nearer as Alex Mitchell goes in, throws the dummy. He got a try against the force right at the end, and the clock had gone red. And that's where the Lions will want to be, around about 50 when this clock goes red today. And that's a start.
Like that from Alex Mitchell, he'll get all the credit because he's got himself over the try line, got himself on the scoreboard. But just look at the work of Finn Smith and Van der Merwe on the short side. As soon as that maul comes infield to the 15, it opens up a short side. And with the ability of this guy on the short side, again, a couple of pumps of the ball. I have to say, from a Waratah's point of view, defensively, they'll be really disappointed tonight. When you're that close to your goal line, you have to mark the ball, you have to mark what's in front of you. But really good attacking rugby from the Lions, that.
20 seconds.
Yeah, especially with one man. He's been excellent the first 14 minutes, been the most dominant player in the start of the second half. So a really interesting addition from an impact point of view for the Lions going forward.
And the flags go up as well. Another conversion. 21-10. Sam.
Dan will know more than anyone could know him. He's playing with Alex Mitchell, but Alex Mitchell is so good when he's got runners off him, and we've seen that more this game than his previous start. When he's got runners coming off him, it makes the defence have to sit, and when he's got one-on-ones, he can pump that famous dummy of his. He's great around the fringes, and I'm really pleased with Alex Mitchell. That's his threat, how good he is around those fringes. Been really good there today, but he's made look better when his teammates can run off him and give the defence more than just Mitchell to think about.
Used to be brilliant when he used to dummy, and then when it wasn't on, just chuck it to me anyway.
Get out of it, Dan. Double pumps, hasn't he? That's the way he plays. That's why he has got the recognition that he fully deserves, and he's right in the spotlight at the moment on this tour with that injury to Thomas Williams. It's Ben White on the bench, the man who's joined the tour with the Scotland squad. Their preparations in New Zealand against the Maori. They beat earlier today.
It's been a real positive throughout the tour, I have to say, the Lions' line speed, hasn't it? In terms of just getting up, putting pressure on defensive, attacking shapes and forcing errors. Again, right at the line, that's how difficult it is. If you're right at the line, you're playing on top of defences. You have to be accurate, you have to be subtle with your passes. At the minute, both teams are probably forcing those passes right on the line and creating a lot of turnovers.
Strong from the Lions. Referee gives the penalty should they want it, but Tuipulotu is doing really well there to spin out of the tackles. Mitchell, McCarthy, Finn Smith, lovely pass out to Van der Merwe. So hard just to stand up and confront the opposition and barge them away. Nice from Cummings again, lovely little touch. Well picked up. Sheehan onto Van der Fleer and into that 22 of the Waratahs. It was Genji got to the floor, but then it was holding on. The referee gives the penalty to the home side.
Clear lifting action.
It's been so good this evening, hasn't he, Gamble? Really strong performance. The Waratahs go quickly, not quite sure what they've seen there.
Well served in the back row, Australia. It was a position of depth as the selection for the international against Fiji shows how strong they are as the starting three, but in behind, very respectable indeed. That's a respectable kick and more from Alex Mitchell, bouncing away from Lawson Crichton.
50-22.
Yeah, 50-22. I tell you what, The last 15 minutes, this guy stepped up really well in shot here, Mitchell. You know, the game was a bit sticky, needed some control in, a couple of nice breaks, brought his forwards into play, 50-22, field position. That's what Andy Farrell and the rest of the coaches will be looking for from their nines. They know that in Gibson Park they've got that in abundance. Can they find that in their second, third choice?
He's playing like a French nine.
Cummings the go-to, then it's Van der Fleer back to Shit. Here comes Mac Hansen. Approaching the midway point of the second half, Ben Earl. And the Lions' power is really coming to the fore now, and Ellis Genge is going to try and show it. Did he lose control? Referee was there.
I think he got it, We'll slow it down, but I think
It's only a think at the moment, though, from referee Paul Williams. Definitely a hint of loss of control, but the replay will give the evidence here.
Do we need to check the grounding for?
Checking the grounding?
Yes.
Okay. Going official.
Yeah, he's lost that forward, I think, hasn't he? Good scramble, but some really positive rugby from the Lions there. Winning collisions, which then gives Mitchell the chance to come back on the short side.
And in goal, so it's going to go
This is an example, move the game on quicker. There's no doubt about this call.
Okay. No try.
It looks suspect live, and
Going to be a goal line dropout.
video evidence proves that it wasn't a
It's
try.
going to be a goal line dropout, guys.
I do like it from the Lions, though. They're shifting the point of contact a little bit more, getting a couple of tip passes, a couple of offloads, playing in behind, and that allows someone as good as Alex Mitchell to then choose which side he wants to play. Again, bit of a fend of a pass, bring people into play, isolate defenders one-on-one, win collisions, makes life a lot easier for Alex Mitchell. Unfortunately for Ellis Genge, just couldn't get it over the line, but last 5-10 minutes from the Lions, much better.
Okay, sideline, are we good?
And there goes Hugh Sinclair, his final game of professional
Time back
rugby.
on.
Replaced by Jamie Adamson, from the northeast of England. Came out as a backpacker to try his luck.
Just watch this four-man shake from the Lions here.
Let's see what happens now. With Van der Merwe, flag stayed down, he was very close to the touchline. Tried to combine there with Jones. Marcus Smith. Crossfield for Hansen. He picked him out all right. And it's Ben Earl.
What's that?
Tyke Furlong, and
Guys,
this has gone again.
he's actually in touch.
22. Just
Just missed the
outside
goal.
the 22. Yep.
He's in touch.
They look really close to touch. Obviously not in line.
Yeah, good call.
And Josh Van der Fleer is going off.
Been good tonight, hasn't he? Been good tonight, Rog, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's exceptional. Always some model of consistency, season after season, game after game. He's the standard setter for.
If you just see this shape, this is something that from goal line dropouts the Lions have been running all tour against Argentina. What they're doing, they're putting Tuipulotu or 12 in that position, better ball player, looking to get the teams to an edge. A real tactic from the Lions so far on tour.
And then on for Van der Fleer is Jack Morgan. What a performance against the Reds. Player of the match. Looked good at the time, but the stats afterwards totally and utterly confirmed it. Edmed replacing Bowen as fly half. And Van der Merwe, very aware of the touchline at the moment, stays in. It's Furlong. Marcus Smith. Furlong again. Smith again.
That's good.
Earl.
Not really forward.
Really has spring in that inside step, doesn't he, Ben Earl? Bounces off his feet.
Okay, stay out now, Eddie.
If he says to the opposition who wants some, well, wanting the ball here is Matt Hansen, and Hansen flying up that wing again. But that's excellent work by the Waratahs, and not for the first time either at the breakdown this evening.
They're really good in those wide channels, haven't they? In terms of they've allowed that sort of bridge ball over the top. They've almost given them the fool's gold in terms of the pass over the top here from Kinghorn. It's a really good attack, really good ball. But what you do then, you lose your sort of your support lines. People are all tracking for the ball. Forget to resource the breakdown. When you give a team that space in the outside channels, you have to make sure that the next breakdown you fly in and you make a mess of it.
That's extremely interesting, Dan. I think for me, I think what we need to get there is that it's normally it's your 13, but it's too much work to do for the capacity to win the wide area ruck.
Here's Earl again, gets away from Adamson. Mitchell, and a knock on.
Sort of carried on from that second half blitz in a sense, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I just think with that too, though. So many of the excellent test teams, they need years upon years to build cohesion. It doesn't really happen in days and days, no matter how good you are. You use the example of Hugo Keenan
almost from day one.
Sick. A lot of people in the crowd are at home on TV thinking that these guys have
manipulation, etc. have been really, really good. But constant have been those handling errors and balls at the line, which has almost stopped them exerting more and more pressure on teams. And like we've mentioned a few times, you have to make sure come test time you exert more against Argentina. Structures in the line,
that's what test rugby is,
manipulation.
Someone's going to crack first.
Really, really good. But constant have been those handling errors and balls at the line, which has almost stopped them exerting more and more pressure on teams. And like we've mentioned a few times, you have to make sure come test time you exert more and more pressure.
That's what test rugby is, pressure. Someone's going to crack first. Hopefully it's not you.
Australian rugby.
i.e. 2009.
Boys, I've got a knock on at this stage. There's something else there.
Australian Primaries, they've done Howard alongside.
Full
walk now.
No, that's not a knock on, play on.
Yeah, 6 in Australian rugby.
Looks a little bit like the Lions may have just forced down out of his hand there. Yeah, it's a slap down from the Lions. Be lucky to get away with that, Hugh Jones.
Okay, we'll wind up. You don't need to say it again. I understand what you're saying.
Looks a little bit like the Lions may have just forced down over his hand there. Yeah, it's a slap down from the Lions. Be lucky to get away with that, Hugh Jones.
Wind up. Go again.
I've seen a replay of the ball clearly going backwards off red. So give it to blue ball in last position.
Guys, come in. It's going to be a blue scrum. Yeah. We've got the picture on. There's no clear knock on. Yeah, I know. Here's our mark.
Got there in the end.
Blue ball.
Probably a little bit fortunate that's not a penalty, actually, Hugh Jones there in terms of slapping down, but good attacking set for the Waratahs.
Winding up.
Yeah, great position here.
That's the discrepancy in an international game at the minute. You look at the French-New Zealand game from Villiers, a tap down, yellow card. Here it's not a penalty, you know, and that's what coaches are looking for, a little bit of that consistency, because these are big moments.
We were watching together, we both winced when we saw it. And wincing at the moment, the Waratahs, Pat, because the Lions have piled in there. Daniel both are feeling the full force.
Scrum's been a massive positive, hasn't it? Wednesday night and tonight been a real positive to. And you have a bit of a foundation. If your set piece is good, your scrum, you're able to win penalties, not just to look good on camera, but win possession, win territory, put you in a better position.
Yeah, you do wonder whether this is a deliberate substitution to get Gen, Sheehan and Furlong together. I think the Lions would love to see Furlong get back to prime type Furlong. There he is in shot there, because, you know, at their best, he is the #1 tight head. But I think it's a great battle for tight head. Stewart has been brilliant this year. Beelam's put his hand up as well. So great battle for front row places, but good to see this combination together.
Yeah, it's a punchy three, isn't it? Trying to punch through a little bit there was Ben Earl. Mitchell goes for the kick. A couple of those he hasn't really nailed tonight. There's Liotta. He'll be leaving to go to France to play with Bayonne. There's Pete Samus coming from Bordeaux Bergler, the season he had. Charlie Gamble will be alongside him, and I think they both like playing with each other. Wilson fully saw some space. Morgan's covering it. Falls back to Wilson, and he's off the scrum half here. And there's more space. This time it's in behind Hansen. Hansen trying to marshal that one out. Henry O'Donnell's across there as well. It will be a Lions throw into the line out, but it's a pressure one.
Scrappy passage of play initially. We get a little bit of luck off the kick here. It's probably not his best one, Wilson, there, but get a little bit of luck. Great compete that. Gets it back, wins territory, wins possession. Brilliant from Wilson in the end. Just really sloppy from the, talk about feeding a line speed. That's exactly what the Waratahs did previously. Long pass to long pass to long pass. Just allowed the Lions to take the space on each pass and eat up all the territory. But really good recovery.
Stop.
Wilson, son of David, the former Australian back row. Fine player he was.
Okay, let's have it again.
Sheehan forced to wait. That usually doesn't worry him. And he goes to Byrne, plays safe.
He's still bound.
Yeah, exactly, Miles. If you can get a line out after the 40 metres, or even better, to squeeze a penalty out, and that's exactly what you're looking to do.
But another good step, and he's off again, looking for support. Just take players with him. Marcus Smith, he's seen this as really on, and he fizzes that one out to Van der Merwe. Mitchell, Genge wants it again. We're still ruminating over the try that he lost, and this time he didn't lose touch, held on, and it's a penalty to the Waratahs.
Yeah, it's something that we'll have to review, I think. Sorry if you're coaching, because it's so interesting there. You make 50 yards, Miles, and your first receiver is a loose head prop. Why isn't that a back stepping up so you can move the point of contact, get that ball beyond the far post and go again into space?
So I'm looking at these replays here, like, it looks like a great turnover. Look, it's good that the Waratahs go over the ball, but the Lions are getting a little bit sloppy in these rucks in the 15-metre channels. You've got to be having one or two guys red hot getting there really quick. And you can see Genge, he's got 10 metres from the next closest Lions player. So when he takes that ball into contact, well, that's because they've lost shape, I'm not sure, but it is an issue for the Lions today. A little bit slow to that ruck.
That's the worry, isn't it, really? There's been a few repeat problems tonight. They've been sorted out within the game.
Hold on.
It's a brilliant kick.
You know, sometimes though, when you're on a Lions tour, when a team have played really well Wednesday, a couple of days earlier, sometimes you just feel a little bit more like there's an extra point to prove when you get your next opportunity. Do you know what I mean? It feels like the team on Wednesday went well. Can you sort of match that? And it just seems to be, just take it down a notch, play together a bit more.
We'll come back to that in a moment. Here's Earl, Mitchell, Smith. That's good. Born in Beverley in Yorkshire. His father came over to play rugby league. Campbell, absolutely top draw this evening. And if you want to follow the next game, we're off to Canberra tomorrow for the game on Wednesday. And it's the Brumbies against the Lions. Brumbies, of all the Super Rugby sides in Australia, they went the furthest in the competition this season. And then next weekend, that invitational team, which is starting to take shape now, looks quite tasty. Australia and New Zealand combined, that's in Adelaide. And then that date that's absolutely inked in. First test, Australia versus the Lions, back in Brisbane. On the march, that scrum again.
Far side.
It's another penalty.
It's another handling error as well, though, Miles. You know, it's just, yes, there's a penalty advantage, but just feels like everything's 100 mile an hour at the Gay line. I know I'm repeating myself, but just take a step off, get yourself through a few phases. But it does look frustrated. Doesn't look overly happy with Andy Farrell there in picture, does he?
That wasn't the smile we saw from Owen earlier. I think his father there is a picture of grumpiness at the aspect of the performance, but
everything about him is standards, you know, and I think
Yeah.
he keeps himself and his team to the highest of standards, and that's when he gets a flow in his game. So you can see that they can't kind of build pressure on the Waratahs, and that's what's frustrating him.
But he'll like this. How much?
Off now. Thank you.
Nice, Genji. Good try, boy. Love it, Genji.
Okay,
The referee's still looking.
Slowly up. Yeah. Just go time off.
What's the steer from the referee?
I'm going to come to you, mate. My on-field decision's going to be tried. Just need to make sure nothing's happened there in the lead-up.
On-field try.
So we'll have a quick look. Okay, on-field decision is try. Just making sure I haven't missed anything there when he's grounding the ball. So when the bodies get up, I clearly see that the red player is on top of the ball. It's over the line. Just making sure there's no bobble or knock on there, mate.
Okay, on-field decision try. I'm going to show you the setup of the line-out as well, because number 8 is in front of the jumper.
We've had this before this evening.
Looks as if it could be similar to the Waratahs' first try of the evening, which was chalked
So you're
off,
going to
doesn't
focus
it?
on 8 red, the back lifter.
Yeah, we're looking at 8 red. Okay. Yeah, so that's obstruction as well, isn't it?
Got to be so careful in those situations.
Correct.
I always think in this situation, should a referee be picking that up live, or should it be the job of the TMO? I don't know the question, but it seems obvious when you look at it there, doesn't it?
Yeah, there are so many tries scored like that, actually,
So
and everyone celebrates, and then it's ruled out by the TMO. So it's actually a fruitless exercise, because it's too clear and obvious in terms of even someone like you and I, Dan, get that. You can't block and jump over like that and protect no access to the ball carrier.
Well, Richard Kelly, the TMO's law book, was open at that page at breakfast this morning, we know that. Paul Williams, not originally on the same wavelength, but it's a clear offence, and when it's picked up, it's easy to spot and does gain an advantage for the attacking side, an unfair one. So another one is disallowed. Hansen. They get nowhere near 50 tonight, are they? Nowhere near. And of course, it's not just the benchmark, it's the level of performance that really matters.
Pass.
And while things have clearly worked in some areas, they clearly haven't in others.
21. Clearly advancing in front of the kick here.
I think if you look at where the positive, yes, it's been slightly frustrating from the Lions' point of view. Yes, there's been handling errors, but you think of, let's look at what the positives have been. Blair Kinghorn's got himself on the pitch. Ben White has got himself on the pitch some minutes. It's a poor error though.
Ball kick dead. Just dribbling away this match for the Lions, and that will maybe of all things hurt them most. The fact they haven't been able to push on like in the other games, and it's just drifting.
It has been a little bit like that, Miles. But I say we go back to let's look for the positives. It has been a bit clunky. It has been a bit scrappy. There's no denying that. But the scrum has been excellent. The line speed, the defence in line speed has been really good. The centre partnership certainly has been a plus in the plus column. Some minutes for Ben White, some minutes for Blair Kinghorn coming into the squad. So reasons to be positive, but that's a bad error, isn't it, for Marcus? He'll know that. You know, it's a poor error, and probably needs to be making those if he's going to put himself in any sort of frame for test selection.
It really is a hard one to explain when we know the talents of the young man. Picked up well by Crichton. Not too much to do at fullback. Certainly in an attacking sense. Marcus Smith trying to make amends.
Yeah, first man.
And it's Phillip who's in there, making a total mess of it again. Doing a gamble job.
No advantage, guys. It's knocked on by
It was a knock on.
Do you know, Rod, posed this to you. Do you know that sort of kick there? Is that, you know, the 76 minutes on the clock at that point? Bit of a
back on this side.
Is that a sort of exact example of Aaron Smith, one of the all-time greats? Potentially could be playing against the Lions next week. You never know. Quite a good night in his day, wasn't he?
Aaron Smith.
But just going back to that Marcus Smith moment, is that a bit of a... Does he feel like he has to get everything double tops to get himself into consideration, especially, you know, everything that's gone on? Does he feel like that has to be right? Everything he does has to be 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's the messaging with young players and players in general, things. How do you grow them? I think the great players, when they have bad nights, they're a 6 or a 7 out of 10. You know, that's exactly what it is. But when you have a graph that fluctuates between 2, 3, 4, 7, your forwards lose confidence with you, and they don't like that.
6 or 7 was a very good day for me, Rog, I'll tell you that.
Still staying straight.
Well, it's a good mark for the scrum. We're hearing that Alex Mitchell has been picked as the player of the match. Here's Hansen out to Van der Merwe. Van der Merwe looks to go on the outside. Cover was good. White again. Here go the Lions, trying to cut the lines. Oh, and Tyburn, the captain, drops it. Final few seconds. Waratahs won't be kicking this off. They've got a penalty. They will look to finish with a flourish. They're not going to win the game, but they have certainly not disgraced themselves. And on the player of the match front, you know, it might have been one of those nights where it could have gone to the losing side in Charlie Gamble.
Yeah, he was absolutely magnificent. You know, put himself about, winning breakdown turnovers, got himself a try, choked off, didn't he? But
and I think in the red,
just been really good. It's just been a frustrating evening for the
Kinghorn is a joy to watch.
Yeah.
Just his identification of space early, he just makes the ball do the work. He puts the people into space, and he's on to it the next time. You look when there's a penalty, the Lions is looking to play quick. His thought process, maybe from playing with Dupont for a couple of seasons, it could have something to do with that. But what an interesting player.
Gamble looked really good in La Rochelle colours, you know.
I can't do any more of this commentary with Dan because I had an eye on a player in the Reds on Wednesday night.
They got no budget left. They're paying the head coach too much money.
Whoa. Easy on now.
Easy, boys, easy up.
Oh, you enjoyed that tackle.
We had a double slip there. Just come over. Come over here. We're all
Final
ripped up there.
scrum here.
Come over.
Can the Lions do something from it?
Right, boys. Feet up. It's soft here, so feet up, please.
And I wouldn't underestimate this. This is big because this is I suppose, championship minutes, the last 2 minutes of either half and last 30 seconds. You know this is the final player. Mediocre teams, average teams, good teams are happy just to shake hands and move off, but the teams that have that killer instinct in them will want to finish with a score here. So you've 16 people locked into a space of 5 metres. Let's execute.
And we've got a free kick, and White is not going to hang around here. Gives it to Smith. Hansen, Kinghorn, Van der Merwe. Very close to touch. Now it is in touch, and the Waratahs can leave with their heads held high. They don't have a victory, but they certainly emptied the tanks. The Lions not exactly powering on them. They are taking down Australia's rugby sides one by one. Just the Brumbies lie in the Lions' way. A clean sweep on that front, but it's a night that will pose some not serious questions, but ones that the camp will want to get on top of very, very quickly. It's not the performance that they desire. You can see that in the face there of Captain Tyburn. Too many handling errors and a few more other things besides. What was your overall impression, Dan, but also who might have put their name forward into test selection on the back of that performance?
You obviously look, you know, Alex Mitchell was excellent in that sort of first 20 minutes after half-time. Really took the game by the scruff of the neck and brought his game into play. I thought Cummins was excellent at all the stuff that just required no talent, getting up, working, chasing, harrying. But Earl was excellent, point of difference in terms of his speed, his dynamism. I thought the centre partnership, I think that was something that has worked well and has put themselves in good position in terms of the combination between Tupolotto and Jones. But like we mentioned, it was a really sort of scrappy performance, wasn't it? It didn't have a huge amount of flow to it. So I think those players will be better for that, though, come Wednesday, come next Saturday. And Those guys for me who I've mentioned, I thought were probably the standouts.
Yeah, and that's quite a few. In that respect, it's not wasted time. They need every minute, don't they, Ronan? It is all about being test match ready. Lions tours have always been centred on that one basic fact.
Yeah, and it will take its own energy the minute the ball is kicked off from Brisbane. All the prep work doesn't count for that much, so we're getting very excited here, but that's what you need to do, obviously. But in terms of, I suppose, you want to build a strong base and make it very difficult for Andy Farrell to be able to pick his first team. Maybe at the minute we probably have so much debate about so many of the positions. I don't know if that's a positive or a negative, because sometimes
Discovery Plus.
We are the ones who wake up at dawn. We are the ones who prepare obsessively. We are the ones who always add an extra kilometer, never less. We are the ones who conquer impossible hills. We are the ones who, following one ride, eagerly dive into the next. We are Imatra, the native digital accounting coin, created especially for cyclists. Get the Imatra app and earn money for every kilometer. Imatra is Garmin connected.
Fueled by Lidl, official fresh food partner of Lidl Trek.
When you invest with eToro, you start seeing investors everywhere. You see, eToro really is everywhere.
Invest anytime, anywhere with eToro.
We've been sold on the lie that the more we buy, the better we'll feel. Wake up. Health isn't a product, it's a practice. It's time to make choices that become habits that could change everything. Wake up. See what happens when the power is back in your hands. Welcome to the awakening.
Problems with grey hair? There is a solution. New Alpecin Grey Attack, the shampoo that makes grey hairs darker each time you use it. It also has the unique Alpecin caffeine formula. When will you attack your grey? New Alpecin Grey Attack. Fight for your hair.
Fell am Platz. Bei uns bist du richtig.
When power meets precision, Mavic Carbon Wheels, available from dealers at mavic.com.
TNT Sports, powered by Enduro.
This coverage of the Tour de France is brought to you by Whoop.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, no brakes, no fear, no limits elsewhere, because the Speedway Grand Prix makes its way over to the forests of Sweden for more action-packed racing today. All eyes will be on third-place Fredrik Lundgren. He races on home turf, and coverage starts at 5:30 p.m. on TNT Sports 1. After the Tour, you know what you've got to do. Tour riders making their way out of Lille at the moment. Sean Kelly here with me, Rob Hatch, and 5 riders are up the road. Led at the minute on your screen by the man in the Cofidis jersey, that's Benjamin Thomas. And what a bike rider he is. One of the strongest riders in the whole peloton at this kind of thing. We saw him in the Dauphiné riding really, really well, and part of a group that almost held off a peloton. He's got Almirai in here as well. Mathis Lebert, he's wearing that red and black jersey representing the Arkea team. He's also a strong rider we've seen in the classics. Jonas Rutsch is the only non-Frenchman at the front. And with them too, Matteo Verche. He rides for Total Energy. Total Energy, who now have their logos on two different jerseys. They've become a co-sponsor at Ineos Grenadiers. Slightly changed jersey for them. Cofidis riding those look bikes, you can see. And on the Treks chasing behind, Quinn Simmons. Keep your eye on the canyons of Alpecin Koenig, by the way, and Movistar, because I'm told there's quite a few special editions this year as part of their My Canyon service. A lot of riders requesting special paint jobs, as is the norm now. I think you can even do that yourself. Changed a bit, hasn't it, Bike Tech, eh?
Is that the painting?
The painting and the tech.
Well, yeah, it's amazing the way they can turn bikes around, and we see in, you know, so many races when a rider takes a jersey pretty unexpected, and they can come out the following day with a totally, you know, painted up bike. The jerseys also, of course, you know, we see here the amount of jerseys national champions. I know they have, you know, a good week to do it, but still, you know, to do that, it takes a lot of work. But the bikes is the amazing one that they can do so quickly, and, you know, magnificent paint jobs. And we talked about the jerseys, actually, Rob, last night when we were having a bit of dinner. You know, the jerseys, you'd be wondering how many the clothing manufacturers sell of those jerseys, because we did talk about, you don't see a lot of them out on the road later on the year after the Giro, after the Tour of France, for example. Whereas the team jersey that they come out with at the beginning of the year, if they change their colours from the previous year, that you can see a lot when you go to the countries where, you know, it's very popular. You go to these big sportive events, you see a lot of the team kit, but the actual ones that they designed for the tours, but they must be turning a lot of them over, because otherwise the manufacturers would not be interested in doing that.
No, there's quite a few different jerseys, and of course even subtle changes on some of them. Tudor Pro Cycling, they've attracted a second sponsor, a third biggest cruise operator in the world, I think, MSC, and just proves that the commercial advantages that being in this race brings. And you're looking at the biggest annual sport event in the world, and one reason why Lille is paying to show off those beautiful landmarks we've been looking at in the opening pictures is because it attracts everybody here. And there's a real effort by the regional government here to try and make this into the heartbeat of the region. And then it's a cross-border region. French Flanders here, but, you know, we've got home riders in inverted commas who could be in the yellow jersey there. Tim Medlier, he comes from half an hour down the road, very, very close to Courtrai. But Lille, now officially known as Lille Métropole, and they've decided to put the word European in there as well. The European Lille Metropolis, they like to call it, because they're playing on that being on the border of several countries. They've got the train link to London now, an hour away. It sounds grand in terms of numbers, as a population of 1.1 million in the city's metropolitan area, and trying to attract investment, attract that commercial success that we've just been talking about with the teams there in the Tour. It's the third massive event in as many years in Lille. The Rugby World Cup was here 2 years ago. The Olympic Games, a couple of events were hosted up here last year. And now another year, another big sporting event comes to town. The biggest annual pool to watch sport in the world. If you're just switching on, welcome along. The wait is over. It's Tour de France time. And we've got Sylvain Tillier on the front. A lot of people, Sean, I think, might look at the first 10 days of racing and they might think, well, hang on a minute, it's going to be sprint, sprint, sprint. It's all northern France, there's no mountains here, it's boring. If you take a little bit of a closer look, it's actually quite the challenging opening 10 days, isn't it? In terms of guaranteed sprints, you know, that's not even accounting for things like the wind here. You're probably talking, what, 5 throughout the whole Tour? Not many.
No, and this year, as you say, Rob, it's a start to the Tour which, you know, don't have really difficult stages, but that doesn't say that it's not going to be a good race. And, you know, we'll have to wait and see what happened today. And, you know, we're getting to a point when we get into the section where it is that side winds, what will happen there, and that could, you know, come very quickly. But we can see here, you know, the interest in this stage is big here. 220 at the moment, and they seem to be holding that now at around that and not leaving this breakaway to get out to an advantage. And you would say, maybe these guys can make it here today. It doesn't look like that at all here at the moment, and we're coming into the section where it should start to get a bit more nervous with the wind turning to more side on. But we see the flags there in a number of sections when they get out into the open countryside. It is blowing quite strong. Here at the moment, you know, quite a bit of shelter. We can see the maize crops quite high there, the wooded area. But there's a lot of open sections to come on this road here, on this stage today, and that will be an interesting one. But yeah, I think when you look at this parcours, it looks more like the traditional tours back in the years where you get a number of days where it's flat, and there was often years where it would be very dull.
Here in France, guys, when I will tell you the radio that we are approaching a town, there is always, each and every town in France, speed bumps on the way into the town and speed bumps on the way out from the town.
Well, you were interrupted for a reason there, as an important one. You're talking about the obstacles and everything. There's one obstacle there that's been described by the Red Bull Bora Hanssport sports directors.
Yes, and I think that is just to keep the riders awake, because sometimes in the peloton, when you're in the top, 30, 40, 50 places here, you're in the middle and you're going along, and you can relax a bit too much, and maybe you get into a conversation, a chat with the rider beside you, and you're not watching. So, that is good work of a director sportive, okay? Just, tell them there's a bit of danger here. When they hear danger, of course, they will wake up a bit and they will start watching in front of them a bit more. And these speed bumps we've seen, if you're not ready and, you're just a bit too relaxed, not holding your bars tight enough, you can just slip off the bars and down you go. And that's not what a team wants at this point in the race at all. So it's just, the normal thing. Just keep the guys aware, keep them alert, and as we call it in cycling terms, keep them awake.
Now then, awake, which is a rarity for the man sometimes I'm about to introduce, sitting in the commentary box, not having a snooze for once. Of course, it's the opening day. That's because Robbie McEwen, this looks like it could be for the first time since 2020, a sprint day for the yellow jersey. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Rob, and very much awake. I even remember to turn my mic on before I open my mouth.
That's a start.
Yep, that's a good start. So my Tour de France is underway, and yes, a unique opportunity for the sprinters to take the first maillot jaune of this Tour de France. And when there is an opportunity like this, it heightens what is already a much anticipated stage. As soon as you get to the Tour as a sprinter, the earlier you can win, the better. But if there's a yellow jersey attached to said stage victory, it carries that much more weight. And I not get caught out. You get such a packed road, and even teams prepared to use energy catching more wind than they otherwise might want to, just to make sure that at the front it provides a lot of shelter for all the rest. So it's not a given it's going to split, but what a nervous stage it's going to be.
Ola alluded to this on the breakaway earlier on, talking about your excitement with the messages. And yes, I was setting you up a few days ago, telling you that the wind was going to blow, and you got very, very excited. And viewers who are with us at the Giro d'Italia will remember that you've become our resident weatherman here. So what is going to happen today with the wind?
Well, there's enough wind to make things difficult. I always say that you need a wind intensity of consistently 30 kilometres an hour or more to split a World Tour peloton. Today it's blowing at around 26, 28 kilometres an hour, but the gust's up to 46. A sustained gust in the right area could cause a fracture in the peloton. But I think being first day of Tour de France, everybody's heightened awareness. I think barring incidents, crashes, attached mechanicals to those, I think everything should come back together. but you do never know in the Tour. And I said crashes. It's not that I wish there is one, but it just in Grand Tours, particularly in the Tour de France, day one, when it's an anxious sort of fight in crosswinds, crashes are unfortunately inevitable.
I'm knocking all the wood that I can here, Rob.
Yeah, I've only got veneer, but I'm